plenty other one them, we tackle issues of maximum importance to the growth of Sierra Leone by serving as your voice in asking the why, where, how, and when questions to the one them we responsible. This na Brutally Frank, showing every Sunday at 7 p.m. on Slick TV, channel 37, and also streaming live via our Facebook page and official website. You don't tire for yeri boku talk with no substance or sweet talk with plenty lie inside. Then now na the time for strip the headlines there and tell the story just like it is. Brutally Frank goes where others won't, exposing the real stories behind the headlines, from land book business to its business to money business, even politics and plenty other one them. We tackle issues of maximum importance to the growth of Sierra Leone by serving as your voice in asking the why, where, how, and when questions to the one them we responsible. This na Brutally Frank, showing every Sunday at 7 p.m. on Slick TV, channel 37, and also streaming live via our Facebook page. And John Trudell once said, when one lives in a society where the people can no longer rely on the institutions to tell them the truth, then the people must now rely on culture and arts. Tonight, we dissect the Ernest Bai Koroma saga. What we know, what we don't know, what we should know. And that is how I bring to you the very first edition of the show. Viewers, welcome to No Man's Land. Welcome to Brutally Frank. I am James Fortune.
And I am Melvin Tijan Mansari. Brutally Frank takes a hard-hitting probe on the facts, exploring the theme of rule of law and accountability in the social contract between the government and the people. For over a year now, an unprecedented incident, failed coup, shook the fabric of the nation. It resulted to the historic arraigning in the courts of Sierra Leone of a former president, Dr. Ernest Bai Koroma. For tonight's show, we are dissecting the saga from what we know, what we don't know, and what we should know. Welcome to Brutally Frank.
For months now, we've all been silent about such a critical issue. So tonight, we dare to ask the hard question. Tonight, we dare to ask the duty bearers. What's up? Stay with us. This is Brutally Frank. On Slick TV, channel 37, and also streaming live via our Facebook page and official website. You don't tire for yeri boku talk with no substance or sweet talk with plenty lie inside. Then now na the time for strip the headlines bare and tell the story just like it is. Brutally Frank goes where others won't, exposing the real stories behind the headlines, from land book business to its business to money business, even politics and plenty other one them. We tackle issues of maximum importance to the growth of Sierra Leone by serving as your voice in asking the why, where, how, and when questions to the one them we responsible. This na Brutally Frank, showing every Sunday at 7 p.m. on Slick TV, channel 37, and also streaming live via our Facebook page and official website. You don't tire for yeri boku talk with no substance or sweet talk with plenty lie inside. Then now na the time for strip the headlines bare and tell the story just like it is. Brutally Frank goes where others won't, exposing the real stories behind the headlines. Welcome back. Tonight we dissect the former President Ernest Bai Koroma saga. What we know, what we don't know, what we should know. Now, amongst what we know that on the 26th of November 2023, there was what the government described as a failed coup attempt to overthrow the legitimate government of President Julius Maada Bio. Fast forward to January of 2024, we get Usai the government be bring boku people them na court, where they allege say this na people them will be there among the coup plotters. Amongst these people was no less a person but a former president. We mean say for the very first time in our history as a country, we get an instance where a former president was arraigned in front of a court of law. Now, for some people, this was a question of justice. For some other people, this was just a question of politics. And for some other people, this was just something that was a waste of time. It was not necessary. However, amidst all of this controversy, amidst all of these agreements and disagreements, this is where we are at. July 2025. How did we get here? How did this whole thing started in the first place? Usai we start. How is it that it happened that a former president was arraigned in front of a court of law? And it's not just about, oh, he was arraigned in front of a court of law and he's a former president. Yes, no one is above the law. Supremacy of the law, supremacy of the Constitution. But where we are at in the moment, what do we know, Melvin?
Thank you very much, Fortune and Fumble. On this matter of the former president, we know so much, but also we know so less. Firstly, within the saga, we go remember say former President Ernest Bai Koroma been done be president of Salone and served for 2 terms, from 2007 up to the year 2012. And we not go forget say just after he been done come on office, we get the election of President Julius Maada Bio. And when President Maada Bio and government come to power, we go remember say they institute what they call commissions of inquiry. And during the commissions of inquiry, one of the persons of interest now Dr. Ernest Bai Koroma. Fast forward, we need to understand the context because during these commissions of inquiry in 2018, it been last till 2020 where the white paper been come out. And inside that white paper, Dr. Ernest Koroma, among several other things, then they found them wanting for abuse of office. The details, then they available now the court records. But that now be just the basis of Usai all begin. And you don't bring me up to speed to November 26, 2023, where the government been come out now door until we say among the several suspects, among the several people that we then don't arrest, Dr. Ernest Bai Koroma was one of the persons them where they allege Sige and Pandis, well, which we call failed coup. And the matter been going to court. Usai them been charged on 3 counts.
4 counts.
4 counts, thank you. One of which get for do with treason. The other one get for do with misprism. And the other one get for do with abhorring. And there is the last one on sedition. Those are very serious accusations. Apparently, again, what do we know now that the matter been in a court? First, it been in a magistrate court, Fortune. And while the matter in a magistrate court, we will later see for the very first time, unprecedentedly, Usai, the lawyers of former President Koroma, led by Joseph Fitzgerald Kamara, they run go to the High Court. And what then they go ask for? Then they go ask for a leave on some of the conditions where the court, when at the magistrate court, been done to Dr. Koroma. However, they been succeed for make them convince the courts for give leave to Dr. Firstly, they be succeed for make the courts reduce some of the conditions we be in magistrate court bail. And secondly, when have been the most interesting part of the case, Fortune, now that the High Court will allow the prayers of Dr. Koroma in lawyer them for make them grant medical leave to Dr. Ernest Bai Koroma. And we been see that was granted and it been go Nigeria. But an important point for note now the fact that the court been given a specific time. And that time they been don't come, it pass, it come, it pass. And as it stands, nobody no know when this next term for this case therefore come up again. And it beg the question now, Fortune, what's it happen with the conditions where they been give to the former president for take a medical leave? Because now been the expectation say when the term done 90 days if we come back and can continue in trial. So the big question tonight with the trial for on earth is why make Enochite waiting at the position of the court, Fortune, and waiting at the position also of a legal team when they in can court and can put this free and say this man no well, and then even produce medical report to the effects. So Fortune, just that the basic of waiting we know so far.
Okay,
there are more to it, but let me hold on the first.
Let's get brutal with those facts where you just don't present. Now, it is important to just throw out there that we indeed invited the communications people from the APC to join us tonight for this discussion. However, they declined that they were advised not to. So we'll proceed in any case. I'll share my thoughts and opinions on these facts. Now, first of all, you get a robust prosecution team in which the government made several statements that people will be held accountable, that nobody is above the law, and for every action there are consequences, and people should own up to the consequences of their actions. Now, this particular prosecution team as well made a statement that they robustly kicked against the president being granted leave to really go to Nigeria for medical and things like that. However, he was granted leave. Now, here is the kind of shady aspect of this entire thing. It's the fact that now we are at a position where nobody seems to be talking about the case anymore. Neither the prosecution, neither the people on the APC side. I feel these people are taking Sierra Leoneans for a ride. Because it's a question of accountability. Over 21 people were killed. More than 57 people charged to court. Over 2,000 people come out in prison. For which now we're not able to forget all of them people and they will be left prison. Now, these are serious issues. And so if you are to accuse a former president that he be day part of, he aid the coup plotters and things like that, then Sierra Leoneans really wants to see a conclusion to that. But there is this seeming thing, and I tell you what, and this is my opinion, there is this seeming pattern that government just wants to play small, softball, sweep this under the carpet with hopes that Sierra Leoneans will forget about the whole issue. And if we forget about it, and that's how it just go. Because mind you, before them request for the president for go on medical leave and things like that, the ECOWAS had written to the government of Saloon for really drop the charges on grounds of peace and stability. This same government come to we and tell we say, no. Sierra Leone is a sovereign state and such would not be tolerated. They're not going to really indulge ECOWAS in that light. But around the same period, we see inside the court using discretion for grant the bail to the former president. Now, I am not questioning the discretion of the court. I am not saying whether the court using discretion prudently or otherwise. That's not what I am arguing with. What I am saying is the entire situation of the president going to Nigeria, being in Abuja for more than how many months now? Almost more than 1.5 years now. Is shady, and somebody needs to be accountable. And in this case, the government needs to be accountable. Tell us what is going on. If una don't make back deal behind the door, una don't settle and blah, 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 you've decided to drop the case, come back to us and tell us. But don't just do it and pretend like, oh, we not really need for know, or we are not entitled to know. We're entitled to know. This is not just the case between former president and that of the government of Sierra Leone. This gets to do with the lives and livelihoods of people. It's about us, the citizens. So many lives and livelihoods and just the flow of the nation was disrupted as a result of the November 26 coup. So what are we saying here? Are we going to reduce this entire thing to a question of, oh well, let we just let the thing is, arguing about this further would disrupt the peace and stability. I say this is not a peace and stability issue. It's a thing of justice, it's a thing of accountability. That's my opinion.
And that opinion, the President Biosef expressed in one of his statements that the issue is not about politics, but it's about national security and others. But Fortune, the fact here is that, firstly, to answer your question on is it a case of selective justice? Is this a case of waiting good for the goose, not good for the gander? So these are the things that we will not know. We don't know the next date for the continuation of the Dr. Koroma treason trial. Nobody knows that. We also don't know whether this trial at any point go able to establish the guilt or innocence of Dr. Ernest Bai Koroma. Because if the trial already be in what I would call suspense, at the end of the day, the question is Dr. Koroma guilty or not?
Yeah, but wait, Melvin, on that particular point, I think we are not really arguing about his guilt or his innocence. That is for the courts. That is for the courts and his lawyers and the prosecution and defense. What we are saying, and what I am saying really, is the fact that how is it that all of a sudden we are just silent on this particular matter? And nobody is talking about it anymore. You know, nobody is saying, oh, the prosecution will get so much zeal. Shortly, we are going to listen to a video in which just the statement where the president make just after the attempted coup, in which he emphasized that justice will be served and those that are responsible would be brought to justice regardless of who they may be. That was what he said. It was his statement. Now we are saying, what is happening with that? We know saying that the prosecution in whole for prosecutes the case. I'm not talking about his innocence or his guilt. I mean, that's not for me to decide. That's for the court and his lawyers.
But as the case stands in this suspense stage, they will never reach at that point to establish whether he's innocent or the reason for this point, if you go to on a verified audio of the former president, he made a case that, in other nothing for hide, so in other afraid. And at that make when Macky Sall and Ado then come meet him, he, quoting the words of the former president, he was hard-hearted. But however, he said then give two scenarios. One, be careful do it. What if you there so people and come for camp pull you should be? Another one, which has got to do with the court and the same issue you're raising now. The other point expressed by Dr. Koroma was that he say in the unverified audio, Ado asked him, what if you go to the court and evidence is concocted against you? So the heart of the question of is innocence or not has got to do with an extension of is this actually a legal trial or a political trial, Fortune?
Exactly. So now on that particular point, let's take a watch right now at President Bio, the video in which the president actually made a statement just after the attempted coup. Let's take a watch on that.
The attempted coup will therefore be dealt with by my government purely as a law and order issue, not a political, tribal, or religious matter. Therefore, let all be rest assured that we will follow the evidence wherever it leads us. And all those found culpable, no matter their status, shall be held fully to account for their actions within the confines of the laws, while at the same time also recognizing the wider demands of justice and freedom. I thank leaders all over the world and our bilateral and multilateral partners, including ECOWAS, the African Union, the Commonwealth, the European Union, the United States of America, the United Kingdom, for standing by us at this challenging moment. Above all, I thank you, the citizens of our great nation. As your President and Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces, I repeat my call for us all to come together and embrace the values of peace, stability, and democracy, and reject every attempt to divide us through violence and unconstitutional means. I call on all citizens to say no to unconstitutional change of government. No to any attack on our peace, security, and democracy. and no to any person or group who chooses to put their personal interest above our collective national interests. We have shown the world that we are a resilient people. We have demonstrated that we stand for peace and democracy at all times. As one nation, one people, we shall remain firmly united and stand invincible, guided solely by the rule of law. May God bless and protect the great people of Sierra Leone and our friends and partners living in Sierra Leone. Long live the Republic of Sierra Leone.
So that was the statement of President Julius Maada Bio, in which he emphasized that there would be no sacred cows, they would follow the evidence wherever it may lead and things like that. Taking the key from exactly that particular statement, can we now safely say government is being hypocritical?
Saying the government has been hypocritical is an understatement. I think the government itself has taken the people for granted by not showing signs of what I'll call responsibility.
Taking us for a wild ride. Okay.
Wild goose chase, if I'll put it. Because at the end of the day, if you don't try other people and convict other people, if we have other people at large, if we have other people that are dissident, if you have other people that cannot come and have a free time in Freetown, and yet still this one case, after you don't make several pronouncements, firstly objecting, secondly accepting partially, and now thanking ECOWAS as we've just had, it shows that there is a missing element. And that missing element could either be the government not get enough evidence against the former president, or the government has been pressurized by foreign forces for accept the fact. But whatever the case may be, it's clear that the government waiting then talk on the case of Ernest Koroma, they not do it. And that left several consequential matters unaddressed.
Because I think we should just agree, all of us as a people, that this argument or this hypocrisy that, the former president is sick, he's seeking medical attention, not just true. Let's be honest with ourselves. I mean, we've seen the man celebrating his birthday, attending events, and so many other things. So, me and you say it's not a thing of him being sick. So, the thing is, those ones that are responsible, governments need to come out and tell Sierra Leoneans the truth. And even, I am not just even saying this is just a thing on government side. This is a thing both on government side and even on President Koroma and lawyer their own side. Because this is the thing, yeah? If you know indeed your client is not guilty and all, and they don't bring this kind of charge against them, you should really be interested to see a conclusion of the matter.
Of course.
Well, it seems like nobody really not get interest as to whether the matter is concluded, just leaving it like that, holding everything just like that. And the main problem about this is the fact that it sets a dangerous precedent for us as a country. For even future generations, future governments, it sets a dangerous precedent. So, it needs to be concluded. This thing of just waiting that, we go forget. And it seems so. When last, in fact, we even on the media space have talked about this issue. It's been a very long time. And we are all just going with the very weak arguments. And it's very weak. And that's in itself really shows a very high level of disrespect and disregard for the people of Sierra Leone. That you could just tell us that, the man is sick, he's on medical leave. Meanwhile, he's throwing birthday parties, he's attending church services, and so on and so forth. And you really expect that we should believe that. We should really just take that as the fact. What are we really doing as a country? What do we do? This is the thing, Melvin. You talk about the fact, maybe the government don't realize that they don't get enough evidence or prosecute the man. If that is the case, then you need to be accountable. Come back to us as a people and tell us that, now maybe say, but now I don't look and I don't see, I not get enough evidence. And you say sorry. And people take responsibility. I tell you what, there seems to be a pattern with this government when it comes to prosecuting cases, especially those ones where relate to people where they in our opposition party. You remember the Paulo Conte incident?
Absolutely.
In which it was as well offenses were revolved around treason. Yes, he was not found guilty in court. But that was indeed one very big embarrassing moment for government. I know in that particular incident, the Attorney General was fired. But that in itself is not accountability, it's not responsibility. Because nobody can say, this nine are the reason that we are getting this person out. And that is accountability. For a government where pride itself in doing what is right, they seem to be doing all the wrong things. Similarly, you remember the presidential pardon that was given to LSC. This as well revolved on, we connect to the Attorney General office. Yeah. And we just use like somebody was just fired quietly. What are we saying? What are we really doing?
There is a seeming vacuum in all of this conversation. And that vacuum, Fortune, is the fact that now something we wait for left. That's not the first question. Another question is the government, through the Attorney General Ministry of Justice, recently, as recent as in 2025, say the trial will continue. But how this trial will continue, we don't know. Will the trial continue in absentia? That's the question.
And who is fooling who in this instance?
Exactly.
It's treason, my man. It's one of the highest offenses in the land. So who is fooling who?
So if they are saying it will, the trial will continue and then justice will be served and we don't know when, I think that's the big question here as to, like you said, who that they follow that?
Or there is just this other thought, and this is just a random thought that I have, that this, all of the entire attempted coup and all of the charges and things like that could just have been a calculated attempt by the government for just disrupt the opposition. Because me and you would agree that Ernest Bai Koroma was a critical pillar in the opposition, was very influential, was very important, plays a significant role, in as much as not to be the chairman and leader anymore, but he was still significant in the opposition.
And more so when in your words they say, well, it seems as if it was not in favor of Samuel Kamara's decision for enter into a negotiation with Dr. Bio and the SLPP, especially in the absence of this aggregated data. Could that have been one of the vendetta against the former president? We cannot tell. But to your point, if case not there against Sam, again, the equal responsibility, Fortune, is not a competent lawyer, the president of JFK. Why can't he move that, okay, well, maybe we can say this man sick, but as it stands now, the man not sick again. That's the first thing. That, I think, is the honorable thing to do. Because if you say he's sick and this man with the CM, the car with the CM, and you're not able to come in the court, say, but this matter don't prolong and my client need for in reputation. Mind you, this gets far-reaching implication because if the APC is going to campaign on the legacy of Dr. Koroma, then if this matter remains unresolved, one of Dr. Kuruma's legacy will be attempted coup, unfinished business. So I think the onus also is upon the APC. The onus is upon the legal team of Dr. Koroma and upon himself to say, all right, I cannot keep on with this unfinished business in perpetuity. Let's come and done with this matter. But if the government not they make move and in lawyer they not they make move, it's like for say they don't go settle what we call behind the table or behind the scenes. And what's it happen to the country in reputation? What's it happen to the instability? What
happens to those ones who lose their life?
What's it happen to the one that will die and their families now will grapple with that? What's it happen to the one that serve very long-term sentences in court, including one of your own bodyguards? So to say somebody go out and say, well, sentence and not get evidence against them, but with all the things in trial and all the evidence and lots of them, somebody asks, what is holding the government back? Is it that ECOWAS don't prime the government that una not want to this man not the car again? Or is it that the government is telling ECOWAS that you like it or not, Dr. Koroma is in exile? We don't know. These are all the uncertainties we make the matter need for be concluded. Because if not, mind you, this is a former president. Somebody go grab one day and cook up any charge against Setema that be going to left power.
and that matter did not done.
And that is exactly the significance of this particular thing. That's the precedent that it sets.
Of course.
Now the precedents done the way they set. And let's just agree with all of this. Let's just agree. And I think I agree with you to a very large extent on the point of that the blame not lying on one side.
Of course.
You could share the blame on the APC side and the legal team of Ernest Bai Koroma and that of the government. Let's just say these people, they're really not take we serious. No, that's the fact, Melvin. Because imagine that a treason trial was started in which una say, oh, it's a political witch hunt and this and that. It is an attempt for, trumped up charges, and you call on the people for stand against this. And all of a sudden now, your client still a medical, whatever you say is on medical, and then he's throwing birthday parties, he's attending events, you're paying him visits, he's even doing I call them photo shoots. Who is fooling who really? And meanwhile, you get the government from the Attorney General's office that is still telling us that, oh, the charges have not been dropped, we're still going to continue with it, but what are you continuing with? I take, for example, the fact alone that even that we try to reach out to somebody to be here tonight for really answer some of these questions, and they declined, just show the sheer thing of, it's just taking the people for a ride.
And Fortune, that, like I said, this is an equal blame. I also personally try to reach out to persons in the communications department of the judiciary as to what's the status. And I mean, this was 2 or 3 days ago. Nobody responded to the question. So it seems as if it's a conspiracy between the government and Dr. Koroma to keep the people whether in suspense and the matter in abeyance. But on either side, this will not be helpful. This not will help government, because tomorrow when elections endika, somebody go easily say, when I lie, then be lie para. If not to lie, why they not done the case? On the other hand, somebody will say, hey, bo, that man they call himself statesman, but he ain't been there panku. So either side is not absolved of guilt or innocence, and that's why this matter should be logically and legally concluded.
So on tonight's show, we're saying that no to whatever conspiracy, whatever that may be, whether it's between government and that of President Bai Koroma, that okay, let's just keep this entire thing silent, or whether it's between the government and that of the ECOWAS, that okay, we're going to be silent, and over time, people are going to forget about it. We're not forgetting about it, and we are asking, what is going on with the case? The duty bearers, what's up? Come back and tell us. If those ones at the Attorney General and Minister of Justice office wanna feel like say, you don't have a case, come back and tell us. You owe us that. You owe us that. I mean, let's just take a look at some of the videos of the former president, you know, and well, you don't need for be told that that person they're not a sick person. I mean, let's be honest, Melvin.
I think that's
it's so sad.
I think again, the medic, Dr. Russell, with all due respect to him, is a fine gentleman, an academic, and an established medical professional. I think looking at the nature of this letter in tandem with time, because one of the paragraphs we talk say it will get the tendency for like get heart attack. Man, there are 60% chances of getting heart attack. Yet still, we see him in the possibly they waiting a road for get heart attack. You will see him the chill, you will see him the dance, or you see him the do sports. So Dr. Russell insists himself, but again, I blame the government. Why was there any independent verification of the medical reports? was Nigeria the only option?
Well, you get
could he have been treated in Sierra Leone?
The former Attorney General and Minister of Justice, Mohamed Lamin Tarawali, in a press conference where we hold immediately after, you know, the court grant leave to former President Koroma for go on medical leave, he stated that they vehemently, you know, oppose the proposition that the court should grant him leave for sick medical in Nigeria. But there remains the question, how vehement were you? And this is the thing. For a government where they claim that you vehemently oppose the application for the court granting him leave to go and seek medical in Nigeria, you seem so comfortable with him being in Nigeria all this while. You don't pass almost here. But come on. How about the other people within a prison right now that have been sentenced long since? Were they not entitled to medical leave? For a serious country. Were those ones not entitled to medical leave? Come on, let's be honest with ourselves. I mean, let's be honest. Somebody is lying to us. And somebody needs to really be held accountable when it comes to this matter. Because it disrupts our entire lives as a country. It disrupts we all. It's not just about government. This is not just about President Bio. It's about the very fabric of we democracy.
Rule of law.
A very test of we institutions. A very test of we independence. A very test to we sovereignty. And so on and so forth. The list long tail long. But come on, let's stop wasting our times. You know, tell me waiting at the fact. And it's okay. It's even, in fact, the honorable thing to do. For let you come out and say, now mistake I be make, sorry. We've seen that happening in other places. Why can't Sierra Leone politicians them do the same? Replicate the same. Say you're sorry and you, of course, bear the consequences of your action.
Of course. And that's the political honesty. And I think that is what is missing in all of this conversation. Who that the light power in this case.
Okay, we're going to go for a short break, and when we come back, we're going to turn on to a very new chapter of this conversation that has to do now specifically with the ECOWAS and the appointment now of President Julius Maada Bio as chairman of ECOWAS and the consequence on or waiting that they will get on we as a country. Let's go for a short break. We'll be right back.
From land book business to its business to money business, even politics, and plenty other one them, we tackle issues of maximum importance to the growth of Sierra Leone by serving as your voice in asking the why, where, how, and when questions to the one them we responsible. This na Brutally Frank, showing every Sunday at 7 p.m. on Sleek TV, channel 37, and also streaming live via our Facebook page and official website. You don't tire for yeri boku talk with no substance or sweet talk with plenty lie inside. Then now na the time for strip the headlines bare and tell the story just like it is. Brutally Frank goes where others won't, exposing the real stories behind the headlines, from land book business to its business to money business, even politics, and plenty other one them. We tackle issues of maximum importance to the growth of Sierra Leone by serving as your voice in asking the why, where, how, and when questions to the.
Okay, welcome back. Tonight we're dissecting the former President Ernest Bai Koroma saga. What we know, what we don't know, and what we should know. Now, recently, President Julius Maada Bio was appointed as chairman of the ECOWAS Authority of Heads of State. Some time back, it was this very ECOWAS we write a very long letter to the government of Sierra Leone asking us to drop the charges against the former president because of security reasons, stability reasons, and so on and so forth. Now, that very ECOWAS day, in which the government may reply to them that, well, it's not really a politically motivated trial, and so there is not the need for let them drop charges against the former president, and they are not going to go by the dictates of ECOWAS. Now, our president, Julius Maada Bio, is now the chairman of that particular authority. What's the impact? Waiting at the effect. Would he now say, okay, would he now all of a sudden abide by the ECOWAS then plea and decide for drop the charges against, well, he already stated that the charge is not denied, this now rule of law matter, and so on and so forth. But now he's chairman of ECOWAS. What happens then?
Oh, that's an interesting question, because the authority of ECOWAS Heads of State is the highest decision-making body. But the commission is the operational wing. And mind you, it was the chairperson of the commission that made these proposals where the foreign minister, Timothy Kabate, been saying a unilateral proposal. So now, what would be the relationship between the authority of heads of state and the resolution in tandem with the conditions where they put for Dr. Ernest Koroma in exiling, in tandem with what is President Bio now bringing on the table? First question, Fortune. Will President Bio continue with the gentleman's agreement with the ECOWAS for left Dr. Koroma for go, for securing oaths, for paying some of the things they wait and say for paying? Ego still maintain that. What happens if he not maintain that? Will ECOWAS compel him diplomatically or otherwise to uphold the tenets of the agreement or the bargaining between the government and Dr. Koroma? Again,
But then there is the question, is there an agreement?
There is.
Oh,
there is.
Interesting. I don't know if there's an agreement.
There is the ECOWAS statement in which they catalog all what was agreed between the government and ECOWAS as the guarantors and Dr. Kuruma.
Okay.
I think they should be bringing it up shortly. So there was an agreement between ECOWAS as the moral guarantor, Dr. Kuruma, and the government. But there's an interesting fact. When you listen again to the leaked unverified audio of Dr. Kuruma, I think it's up there, he said, where MS Bangoa asked her, he said, "Pa, we will pray to God make them people have come on power, you come back now, your country is full." In response, Dr. Kuruma said, he said, this is about SLP day one or go one. He said, then we agree on an exit terms of condition. He said, if he want come back, he only need for go meet ECOWAS and tell them say he want come back. But the big question is, if former President Kuruma want come back, ECOWAS get the power for bring and come back?
And that's the question, because it was the court that granted him leave. So I don't even understand waiting at ECOWAS in Yaoundé when it comes to him coming back and him not coming back. So someone is lying to us, Melvin.
There was an agreement we did not put in a public, we did not disclose. It's now becoming very clear.
And we know, we as a people know get right for no border agreements.
We supposed for no. And now the hypocrisy from ECOWAS now to the Dr. Kuruma team now to the government all come in. Because how comes ECOWAS then set up for full, we say this man is sick. Well, how comes the not we say, all right, we advise this man say for reduce the political tension, now make we go. So we were deceived from the onset. And mind you, the ECOWAS should be coming again to follow up on some of the implementation and recommendations. I want to see who's can face ECOWAS, they come back, Nasarun with, now that some of these developments don't take place. It's going to be an interesting look ahead for the ECOWAS and even the perception around them. When they hear it on Salon, people they talk now say, ECOWAS, they're not reliable. And if you look at it in real sense, for the fact that they join the government for deceive the people, for Lord Bilisi and Escoman are seeking the sick where you go Nigeria, that cannot be diplomatic. That's a deception. So for me, ECOWAS themselves, then they are the crossroads because now the number one mandate, the President Bio. And how will they continue with their existing plan with Dr. Kuruma under the authority of Dr. Bio is a matter of wait and see. And a litmus test also for them.
And I think, you know, there is just something that we don't talk about in this whole thing. That is how this particular situation here so really they paint with judiciary, with justice sector. Because now, I mean, the conversation seemed to really be flowing on the aspect of it's all political. It's ECOWAS, it's their decision, it's so and so. It's about agreement regarding stability. It's about agreement regarding de-escalating tensions, and so on and so forth. But let's talk about the judiciary. The judiciary was the body where grants President Kuruma leave and forgo on medical leave. And if we are going to say, do we really want to have a judiciary where they say one thing and then mean another thing? Or we want to forget a judiciary where governments they able for use as a conduit pipe for do waiting they want and waiting they no want? Does that set a good precedent for us? It's not about now. Really, it's not just but now. And governments will come in future. And then there is already a precedent of a former president being arraigned in front of the court. And then ECOWAS will come in and then there is the silence. But the harm is already done. And the dangerous part of it now, the fact that it is the judiciary that is at the center of all of this. The judiciary, now the moral guarantor. They stand at the very heart of defending with democracy as a country. The judiciary did it for make sure say, executive not overstretch. The judiciary did it for make sure say legislature not overstretch. I mean, there is the whole doctrine of separation of powers. One person doing one thing and the other doing another thing and the other doing another thing. And every other person playing their part. All of us acting we role. So if we get the very judiciary, when are the last hope of the common man? That's just it. The judiciary are the last hope of the common man. And now it is this very judiciary that is being used as a conduit. Seemingly so. And I'm not saying conclusively so. But this is how it seems. Because now the judiciary now grants medical leave to somebody where it seems like say no sick. And we talk about the doctrine of Ebo, justice not only for be done, But justice needs to be seen to be done. In this instance, justice is not seen to be done. Tell friends who know the poor friend. You know, okay, you grant somebody sick leave and they see the person, they go and waka, they go and pass. Ebo, what are we saying?
And it begs the question, Fortune, is the judiciary or the courts under state, political, or diplomatic capture in tempering justice? Because as it stands, it's a situation of selective justice. The question to the judiciary, is Dr. Koroma not in contempt of court? Considering the 90 days that was granted to him on medical leave.
You know, I tell you what, you know, originally in January, when he was granted the 90 days leave, he should have been back by April 15th or so. Now for don't day back Now that was extended for another 3 months. That was extended for another 3 months. The sad part of it is that we've seen people who don't commit even lesser offenses, misdemeanors, we're not to just serious offense, that have been denied bail. Refused bail, whether on medical grounds or other grounds. I mean, we could cite the example of Kamaremba Mansari, for example. You get, that was denied bail, denied medical, and so on and so forth, except when it comes to the very, very brink. And then you get this instance, this very judiciary, granting somebody beyond 90 days, over almost 1 year, 1.5 years, and what is going on?
And the ridiculous fact is, Dr. Koroma was never present in court. And unfortunately, if you follow the report...
No, well, he was in front of the magistrate court, you know.
Yeah, at the magistrate court, on his next adjourned sitting, the report we have from the court's document is the fact that the DPP and the defense had a closed-door meeting after the defendant not appear. It's a normal thing in court. If you for appear in a court, you not appear. The first thing where the prosecution they ask, where the defendant. But in this case, that was not done. That was not asked. The judge also never asked. It seems as if no more than just a set play. That okay, we not see and just forget about this matter. Let we go with John. But it's unfortunate. It's quite unfortunate because this same court. We keep on emphasizing, don't convict people. This same court don't try people and give them very lengthy sentences. And if now this situation that arise, I guess the question beg, for say the courts, the give it we call, so every rule there is an exception to the rules in this case.
Yeah, in this case now an exception to the exception to the other exception. And the other exception not really be
exceptional exception in this case. But it's quite unfortunate, and we get Boku things then for no when it comes to the status of the trial, whether it's still active or not, whether government will go for continue, how they go for continue or not, when will that happen, and above all, what is contempt of court status that we need for establish, because if you appear in a court and you don't appear, you lawyer them for go sit down behind the court and then come, then just adjourn. I'm afraid that's not the send the right message around the judiciary and the courts need for have a rethink and an introspection.
So now let's talk about the hypocrisy of the APC, the main opposition party, a government in waiting. You understand? You know, there is this thing around them just trying to devoid themselves from the conversation, like, oh, no, to we business. you get, it's not the party, it was the individual. But this was the former leader. Many of the people that were accused or where them bring in court as a result of this coup are either members of the APC, supporters of the APC, you name it. And I'm not saying the APC as a political party had anything to do with the coup. But this is the thing. If many of you big weights them and you big guns them, you understand now then cow it na court. Ebo, we are not interested for CC, hold the government to account even. Let the government try conclude this trial as a government in waiting. So it's this thing of even the one them where they present themselves as the option. You understand?
Or as the victims.
Yes, the victims or option to the people telling us that these ones are bad. You are equally bad. Because the same injustice or the same lie, you are all lying to the people.
And for the APC, I think themselves then really need to take the people seriously. Especially for the fact that this not only a former president, it don't be a former leader and chairman of the party. One thing first what we don't know, Fortune. As the APC, they ever submit an Eskroma in name for be released among the list of political prisoners?
Well, the government said they didn't, say it not be covered, but
did they do that? We don't know. Because if you listen to Dr. Kroma, he says similar for gladly with his own party.
okay.
He say then go sign 80-something agreement. And waiting, as somebody we don't have power, that opposition for them cannot table no more. When they cannot table, the game done.
Okay.
And we hear the aspersion where he cast first on Dr. Samuel Kamara, who, let me not forget, is the chief negotiator on behalf of the APC when it comes to the tripartite. He say the man ungrateful.
Okay.
He says some of the leaders in the APC are not sincere. This is not my words. This is the words of the unverified audio of Dr. Kroma. He says some of them not sincere and tell for ritual some of them need for come to the public and talk the fact. So the bottom line remains is the question is for say the APC leadership betray Dr. Kroma. Or for say Dr. Kroma want for puppet the APC leadership. So it's a case of either or, we don't know, and the uncertainty and unknown so much, because if Dr. Kroma look at in party say they not stand with her and then be ungrateful with her, for what reason?
Or maybe it's just this entire instance of, the APC party might just decide to play it cool and just allow it like that because somebody feels like, okay, with this man away in Nigeria, it gives me an opportunity to shine. It gives me an opportunity to be at the center and all.
But then some of the members they go to Nigeria
and that is how you cannot, that is why we cannot devoid the APC from this conversation. That is why I am accusing them of hypocrisy, that they are also in collusion with the government for lie to the people of Sierra Leone. Because you see outside the leadership, they went to Nigeria, went to pay a courtesy call and all. So you cannot really sit back and expect us to just consider you as a, innocent third party. We don't get anything for do with the situation. I think you're very much involved. You have everything to do with the situation. And you should answer for it.
It's going to be a political issue should they not clear their name. Because we already know that they submit list of political prisoners, whether they are related to the coup now or not coup. If those names are on their list, fortunately you don't be modest with the fact. I wonder how you separate APC sympathizers and supporters from APC.
No, well,
ideologically you say we are going to say the leadership to the position that, but it's a thin line.
No, well,
for example, how will you separate Ernest Kroma from APC?
There I disagree. On that particular point, I disagree, and I tell you why. I think, yes, you can separate the individual from the party. Because you can take individual decisions which not necessarily reflect the wills and desires or objectives of the party. And that's what I am saying.
But there's a contrast to that. I don't agree with you if the APC not be ever furnish or forward a list of political prisoners.
Yeah, but that list they have said, that list not really connect. First of all, the APC totally disassociates themselves from anything relating to attempted coup or whatsoever. So it would be disingenuous for let the very APC now submit names, and the names they're waiting at that list, they include people where they accuse of attempted coup, where you don't already disassociate yourself from them.
Yes, but that was a double standard.
But you cannot say it's a double standard without really, first of all, confirming, Melvin. Where you get the names on the list.
Of course.
Did it reflect that?
You listen to the chief minister, who is the chief negotiator on the part of the government, and even people from that secretariat. They will tell you emphatically that the APC submitted list of names of persons before November 26 and after November 26.
After November 26, not necessarily means saying that people will be part of November 26.
Well, that's what you'll argue. But if they
I am saying.
If they are investigated or they've been listed as suspects on the incident, then how do you separate them? How do you divorce them from the party?
But you cannot say they are. This is the thing. I don't want for argue based on a blank paper or a blank slate. Yeah. The question is, people them where they allege say them be they part of the attempted coup. Are their names on the list? Can you, if you can answer me
I
that
think the government has explained that.
Did they say their names are on
The
the
government explained that even they in fact added that some of them already the escape.
Okay.
As a result of November 26th. I see your point, because the APC is an institution. But again, institutions don't run in a vacuum. Institutions are run by people. So in as much as APC, like SLP, go always say we not get Andy.
Okay.
But for me, it's ironical and paradoxical for let on the other hand they send names of people where government say they were involved. And the government contend that that resolution 4 not cover post November 23 incident. But the APC not see on that way.
Okay.
They not see on that way. Their argument was they are all covered as political inmates or detainees or political prisoners. So again, it boils to the APC, then double standards.
I think we'd love to really continue this conversation on and on and on, but I'm afraid we almost catch up with time. What are your final thoughts on this, Melvin?
Oh, I think since we know it, we know and don't know it.
Do you think they are going to come to court soon, and the matter they continue? You feel say government go shame, or somebody go come out say, "Hey, na lie will be lie," or would they really be accountable? Because they just ask citizens to be accountable. You yourselves need to be accountable.
Absolutely.
Do you think they can be accountable?
They should be accountable, because this matter cannot be shelved for eternity. Question and the way always get for raise up, and until Dr. Kuroma, until the government through the Justice Ministry and other players come up first for establish the unknowns, one of which is sickness, another one the actual reason for him going to Nigeria, another one waiting at the condition of him going to Nigeria, a person will let come back. Is the government serious and willing and committed for a continuation of the trial? The government then get enough evidence for continue the case a winner, because ultimately it's about who wins or loses this case. That will be the ultimate end game of it. If the government winner, it means the legacy of Dr. Kuroma is tainted. If Dr. Kuroma winner, it means he was politically persecuted. And these matters, these issues cannot left in blank forever. One day, answers must be provided. Unfortunately, we cannot tell when and how that will come.
In as much as we're expecting those answers to come soon. Anyways, let's just go through some of the thoughts and comments on the Facebook page. Now, Dominic, there is a Boima, they say, the agreement stated that clearly that it was for the de-escalation of the tension after several meetings. The lead counsel, JFK, had already applied for medical leave based on this particular proposition before ECOWAS came in. So ECOWAS banked on two things. One, his medical as stated prior to the arrival, and two, the escalation of the tension. And further, as well, Bethel Manish, they say, on the contrary, the presenters were judging the former president to be guilty rather than stating the facts about the trial and his overstayed medical treatment. I think it's not about being guilty. We really did not talk about the merits or demerits of the case. And that's the question, really. I agree with you to some certain extent that, and this is the point, that we have to really come to a conclusion of the matter, just so that you don't get the instance of people carrying on with their own notion as to his guilt or his innocence. That is for the courts to determine whether he's guilty or he's innocent. That's on the merits and demerits of the case. And then enough for lawyers them. What we are saying is, let us see a conclusion to this matter.
Sure.
Let's wrap this up and get things concluded. But as we conclude the show tonight, we'll close with what we started with. John Trudell once said, when a society or when a people can no longer rely on their institutions to tell them the truth, then they must now rely on culture and art for the truth. This has been Brutally Frank. This has been No Man's Land. I am James Fortune.
And I have been Melvin Tijan Mansai.
How and when questions to the one them we responsible. This na Brutally Frank, showing every Sunday at 7 p.m. on Sleek TV, channel 37, and also streaming live via our Facebook page and official website. You don't tire for yeri boku talk or sweet talk with plenty lie inside.
Same problem. Ask the other man, say you go handle her. Ask her, say you go handle her.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show. Are you ready?
6 mil beat.
Fresh from the farm, come on, road at the camp. See my cake. Outside on the sun, if you now beef you want bring, I get snap fun. Bloody pattern rappers, they like Adama cuts and you know go able to chase me, you don't understand. Fly like Iba, the bangy you kush, you go jack Lexiga. Now we ready for acts, where the business or Iba. And get take a one, then I put some
Act one, San one, I want for box one. I like Kibabo, but who that's I'm not jokes, man, them know I know the cost, I'm telling like a fuck, who the f go on for cross,
switch off under me hand with the prime, push a same pull top. Hold board for any bubble, we go on for pull off. Also you make like a picky look, you know. Say you watch your sides, so soon as start to fight. I put up for this morning, me, your mommy don't get money. That make
niggas they want for what was sweat, then I like kiddies. The betting born for war, so me not call for peace.
they for weights, you they look for white, you see just have to take our own weight. You must lost your word if I don't show you the way. Say man, if I'm get so we so useless, but nevertheless, make us what the sunshine, we out them go fist clock and surely we go smile. Lost like Saul, this became for full now when you bounce, say doll, 5 belly again. So I will well all, I for let you know the secret to get your son.